Along Harts Road. Now we are standing by with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. They do have more details here on the shooting, and let's listen in. It looks like they are about to begin. Again, this is a reported shooting near
morning.
Harts Road.
I'm Sergeant Harvey Baker with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. On Friday, July 8th at approximately 1:30 a.m., officers responded to the Sprint food store located at 10870 Harts Road for a report of a person shot. Upon arrival, officers learned that an adult black female had been struck in the lower extremities and transported to a local hospital without life-threatening injuries. Officers also became aware that another unknown adult male transported himself to a local hospital, and his condition is unknown at this time. We're still working to identify this person and determine if he was involved in this incident or not. Based on surveillance footage, it appeared to be an isolated incident, and members of this community should feel safe to carry out their business as usual. The suspects were seen disputing with the victim, and moments later, the suspects are seen discharging their firearms in the area, striking the victim in the lower extremities, as I mentioned earlier, the store, and other property. There were two suspects involved: a black female wearing a gray tank top, and a black male in his mid-30s wearing a red shirt, red pants, and a red hat. No one else in the store was struck, and no other innocent bystanders were struck other than the people that I mentioned. They fled westbound from the business and remain outstanding at this time. It is very possible that they were likely picked up by someone. Our violent crime and crime scene detectives are on scene, thoroughly processing the scene and conducting their investigation. We ask that anyone with information contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at 904-630-0500, or to remain anonymous and eligible for an award to contact our partners at Crime Stoppers at 1-866-845-TIPS. I want to reiterate that this appears to be an isolated incident that stemmed from a dispute. In the event that we learn otherwise, we will ensure that information is passed on to our PIO, and we will update everyone accordingly. That I'll try to answer any questions that you guys may have.
The man who transported himself to the hospital said he don't know the condition. Do you know if he was shot?
So he was transported. All we know at this time is he transported himself to a local hospital. We're still trying to work to determine whether or not he was actually involved in this incident. So anytime our violent crimes detectives respond, typically it's not life-threatening. Our homicide detectives will likely respond to, obviously, deaths and someone who's expected to, unfortunately, pass away from their injuries. So at this time, we don't know what his condition is right now, but our violent crimes detectives are working through that to determine that. And if that ends up being the case where it is life-threatening, they will notify our homicide detectives, and they'll conduct a joint investigation.
Sarge, two things. The incident happened entirely in the parking lot, or was it in and out of the store?
So what the surveillance footage shows is right now it was entirely in the parking lot. Some of it started inside the store, and some of it happened in the parking lot, but the majority of the shooting and everything occurred in the parking lot.
And then they fled on foot, maybe picked up, but at least they started on foot?
Yes, sir.
As far as that surveillance goes, were you able to get a good image of kind of the whole thing?
Yep. So it was very. I can't speak to exactly what was on the footage. This information was relayed to me because I'm relieving the midnight units. But from what I understand, the dispute and the shooting was caught. So our violent crimes detectives are going to try to get some still shots and push that description out. And I gave you guys a lot of information because I, for one, wanted to make sure that the community knew that they could go on about their business as usual. But two, we did have some suspect information and description that we want to put out just in case anyone knows who these people are, so that we can facilitate a quick apprehension.
And there were 3 people in total. There were the 2 people shooting at each other, and then the adult woman who was in the hospital.
So there were 2 suspects, and they were both shooting. The black male that I described earlier and the black female that I described earlier. They were both shooting, according to surveillance footage.
And you guys are still looking for the suspects, right?
Yes, ma'am. They are outstanding at this point.
And just to clarify, you said the black female that was shot, that was a non-life-threatening injury?
Yes, ma'am. She was shot in the lower extremities.
Was she taken by ambulance to the hospital, or did she?
You know, I don't know. We learned that she was struck by gunfire and she ran to a nearby residence. So I believe, I can't speak on that 100%, but I do know that she was transported. I don't know if she transported herself or JFRD transported her.
All right, so the sergeant there wrapping everything up. What we've been telling you about breaking news of a shooting on Harts Road. 2 suspects now at large in the situation. A woman with what he's saying was non-life-threatening injuries in the hospital, shot in the lower extremity. But a lot to kind of unpack there, considering surveillance video was very clear. We're going to wait and get images there of these suspects, but that sergeant emphasizing that everyone should go about their business as usual there on Harts Road. If you see all that police activity, they are looking for suspects, but it seems all of that was involved with a dispute that happened in or around that food store they were talking about. So we'll bring you much more information on here online.